for a roll call, please, Heather?
I have Sue Sherman. Here. Sarah Dulce. Liz Costa. Present. Julie Hammond. Karen White. Here. Catherine Consalvo. Here. Sabrina Alberg. Lauren Slurf. Here. Karen White. Did I miss
I'm still here.
So sorry. And then Catherine.
Katie, I'm here.
Katie. Sorry. It's okay.
And Christy.
That is my name. It's fine. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
We weren't prepared for that. Katie, how do you pronounce your last name?
Knutson.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You all set, Heather?
I'm good.
Thank you so much. Doug,
Yes.
could I ask you, I know that you spoke the other night, could I ask you to start us by leading us in the pledge?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need to go grab my glasses real quick or I won't be able to see anything.
And Liz, your next agenda item for the organizational meeting is a review or discussion of RSA, chapters 32, 33, and 195.
Okay,
It should, I believe, be in the budget committee handbook.
yes. Okay, so I guess we'll have to, because we don't have any leadership yet,
Okay.
that
Come
it
back.
should be up to you guys to lead the discussion
Sounds
or leadership.
Sounds good. Can you walk us through that, Maria?
Yeah, so the chapters are in your handbooks. They are the blue section of the handbook. It has chapter 32, which is the municipal budget law. It just outlines the statement of the purpose of the budget, application definitions, resources, and it just is the RSA that governs the budget process.
Nothing's changed, nothing's
Nothing.
changed with these, either our operating RSAs that were formed by and governed by. We do it, it's one of the things we do every year when we reformulate, when we reorganize, we take a look at those. It's a lot to read.
And it's all on the website under the budget committee, so that if people want to look at it, they can, and, feel free to send the budget committee an email if you have any questions that we can get answers for you.
Right.
Most of this is RSA.
It's governed. It's
It's
nothing
all
we've
governed by state statute. So,
And again, just for the audience, that those chapters are 32, 33, and 195.
I also have a budget committee frequent asked questions and answers, which cover some of these frequent questions that people have. And
When's that gonna be?
I'm sorry?
You say there's a meeting where we can ask questions on that?
no,
No,
this
I have a frequent questions and answers.
Oh, free.
in front of the books,
Yes.
frequently asked questions, okay?
Yeah, I'd like to get a copy, that'd be great.
Absolutely, and it's in the budget committee website as well.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
On the
Yes.
web.
Yes, it's on the web and on the documents, but we can definitely give you a copy of that. So those are like Mr. Krieger said, those are the three RSAs that govern the budget process. It's just by statute, and we also have our own budget bylaws, which are also included here, also in the website for our community to look at them. It basically outlines how the districts, how the meetings should be run, how many meetings we should have in the year. In the last 3 years, the budget committee has the first 3 meetings in the fall. They have been doing tours of the schools, which unfortunately they haven't been well attended. So I would like to once again invite people to participate in these tours, because we tour every single school. We do it over 2 nights. One night we do the main campus, I'm sorry, 3 nights. One night we do the main campus, the other night we do Danville and Sandown, and the other night we do Polar and Atkinson. So I think it's important for people to participate in these tours. The bylaws also include the terms for quorum, what are the officers, the appointments, what happens if members of the committee lack in attendance, vacancies, committees. It's basically the bylaws that govern the budget committee.
Is there any further discussion at the board level for those chapters?
I think I'd like to mention that we do have a new member with us. I want to welcome that attending, making an effort to go to a training put on by New Hampshire School Boards Association, whether it's we can get them to come down and do a training for all of us, or go up to Concord for a session. Well worth it. If they do something online, it's well worth seeing it. It just helps to reinforce all
of
the
this.
RSAs,
Yep.
our bylaws, which we have some power over since they're our bylaws, for you to get a bigger picture of what we do. I really recommend everybody do a training every couple of years. It's usually pretty good.
That's great. What is the training called, or what do you look for?
Well, what we can,
I can send you the information.
Yeah.
I will send
Yeah.
the information to
Thank
all of you. I did it last year as well after our first meeting. I will send the information so you guys can have it and sign up.
Just a question, do you all get the emails sent out by Kelly in regards to New Hampshire School Board Association,
No,
like
we
trainings
don't.
and stuff? So I would highly recommend that you all give her your email, and because at the board level at least, she will send out emails and say, hey, this is coming up, this is good stuff, or this is new stuff coming down from that. So I would highly encourage everyone to give her your email, so that way she can, because she's really
I can
great about
send her.
pushing.
I can, we can
Okay,
ask her to
Yeah,
include you
things that
guys
would
in the
apply to
email.
budgeting versus,
Absolutely.
board operations would be great. Not that it isn't worthwhile hearing how the board and the budget committee balance and coordinate together, but it's fascinating to talk to people from other communities, how they operate. There are communities that don't have a budget committee, the school board does it all, and it's just fascinating to listen to how the business manager or lack of business manager or CEO or lack thereof, the different, like what the assistant superintendent often is the CEO, because we're such a state of different sized communities. Fascinating to meet some other people from budget committees.
I will actually like to go around and introduce ourselves since we have a new member. I think it's important that we all, and also we have people from the community, so I would like, Julie, do you want to start?
Sure. Julie Hammond, Atkinson.
Lauren Schlurf, Plastow. Karen White, Sandow. Lisa Oliver, Assistant BA.
Sue Sherman, Plastow.
Liz Costa Plastow.
Maria Watkins, Business Administrator.
Justin Krieger, Superintendent of Schools.
Katie Knudsen, School Board Rep.
Catherine Consalvo, Atkinson.
Christy O'Clair, Danville. Welcome, Lauren.
Heather Greenfield, Recording Secretary.
Any other discussion on those items? Well, it's your organizational meeting, so we'll move to item number 5, letter A. And at this point, I would entertain any discussion or motion specific to a chair for the upcoming calendar year. Sue?
I'd like to nominate Liz Costa for chair.
I'll second that.
Whoa, don't jump.
Sue made a motion for Liz Costa for chair and seconded by Karen. Open floor for discussion.
I think Liz brings her expertise from her long time on other different committees. I think she'll do a good job. She jumped in feet first when she joined us. It seems like a short time ago, but it was a year ago now.
Been here I feel like I never left.
So I think she'll do a good job leading us.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the budget committee? Seeing none, I would call for a vote. All in favor?
I'm abstaining.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
My husband would be like, why didn't you oppose?
Liz, congratulations.
Thank
I
you,
will turn
sir.
it over to you and you can run the elections for the vice chair and others.
Oh, God help us all.
Thank you for accepting.
Yeah, I agree.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Liz. Yeah.
Gonna make sure we stay on task, and my goal is to be able to sit with our new superintendent and school board chair to try and create a way forward from where we're at right now. So wish us luck. I am now looking for nominations for vice chair.
I'd
Julie,
like to nominate Karen White for vice chair.
Second.
Surprise. Okay. All right, I'm open to it.
would you still like to, I would like to nominate Sue Sherman if she will.
No, if Karen's willing to do the work to be your wingman, I'm fine with that.
Okay. Anybody else? I think Karen will be a great addition to leadership. I think she'll bring something because she's part of the Sandown Danville contingency, and we need to have that voice heard as well. Any other nominations? Referrals, anything? All those in favor? All those opposed? Any abstentions?
Congratulations.
Congratulations, thank you, thank you.
Well, we'll work together.
So any other, it says others here.
CIP rep.
So we need, do we have 2 CIP reps on the committee? I'm looking for capital improvement plan representation. Is there anybody here who would like to do that?
I'd
I
like to.
think it's one.
So I've done it in the past and I'd like to stay on.
Okay,
I mean, I would be obviously willing to share the position of someone else, but there's some value of, staying on and
okay. And would you like to,
I'll be your backup.
okay, so.
yeah, or vice versa, Sue, either way.
No, stay on, and then you need me, I'll go to a meeting.
Well, I do.
I don't mean it that way, I mean, be,
All right.
you get stuck, I'll go to the meeting.
Yeah,
It's not
okay,
that many meetings.
yes.
So do we don't need to vote on this, do we? No, all right.
You have the appointments.
It's-
Yeah, you're just
Alright, so
appointing.
I
It's an
will
app-
just dub you guys the representatives. So, okay, so now we need to do appointment of our recording secretary, and that would be Heather Greenfield.
Nominate Heather Greenfield to be the recording secretary for them.
A second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of Heather to be our recording secretary? You need, we're all good for you.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather. And do we have any other positions we need to? I don't have a cheat sheet, so,
No, I don't.
No,
No,
all right.
No, because the only, the.
Okay. So we reviewed and discussed the chapters 32, 33, and 195, and I believe Maria
Bylaws, yeah.
jumped to the review and adoption of the bylaws. So if we want to make a motion to adopt the bylaws again for this year. Yes, Mrs. Sherman, would you like to adopt them with the
I think we need,
possibility of
I think we need to review,
rewriting?
have a subcommittee. Yeah. An ad hoc committee to look them over and see if we're satisfied. We made tweaks and changes over the few years. Usually it's just a minor thing. It's either a too general a statement or too specific that nails you down to it's gotta be this week before the moon rises or the next eclipse comes, or, it becomes too confining. So, I'd like to have us suggest that we put together whether it's Liz, you as the chair, and get a couple other people to just help you look at them and see before we adopt.
Let me do the bylaws, so we have to adopt them today.
I
I
don't have a
read them
copy of them
and
in
I,
front of me. I didn't memorize them.
oh, come on now.
I know.
No.
I used to have them memorized. Like
You
they're in
know, I
blue.
used to be so good about this stuff. Do we have to adopt them tonight per our bylaws? I don't think we do.
You could always make a motion to adopt them, and within your motion, you could have in there that you're gonna
Review
and come
them
back.
in
if any
the
changes.
fall with
Correct.
possible changes.
You could.
I'm not in favor of, because then it's like you've made an action and then you're taking the action away. Unless there's something already in there, and I didn't bring my book with me.
We,
Um,
it does,
I don't read
Say-
anything that talks about an annual adoption.
No,
no.
no.
So we could put this on, make it an ad hoc committee with myself and two other people to look at them and review them and bring them back when we start to talk about the budget in the fall.
It does say, the very last one, amendments does say that you can amend it in part or in whole, on a 2/3 vote,
Right,
Yep,
so.
no less than 14 days prior to the meeting.
right. So we're
So
gonna
we would have to
don't-
make sure.
We can't amend them tonight. Anyway, and it's not fair not to even look at them. Well, if you look at the schedule, we don't have another meeting.
We won't have another meeting until probably September, but
But that's the first.
I would like to work with Maria to get a schedule that might be a little bit more palatable to get some stuff done.
She's giving you a tentative schedule here at the back of the
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, but that is just a tentative one.
It's tentative. I can work with Maria to get that, get that done. And things may change as conversations happen through the spring and the summer anyways. So,
Yeah, and in the bylaws, it says that the budget committee shall meet as needed
mhm.
at the school administrative unit during the months of April, September, and February.
Right, so, if needed, we could join in, in September, once school starts, maybe before we do the tour of the main campus, because we'll be, we can meet, make it a public notice to say we're gonna meet to talk about the bylaws, and then do the tour. So, yeah, we could, call it a workshop with the publication. So, I think that's what we should probably do, is, hold off on, accepting the bylaws for another year and then present them on September 4th or the night before we go and do the, main campus tour.
Do we need a motion to table those, or what do we need?
Um, I would, Mrs. Hammond.
Sorry to interrupt. We had been having discussions last year during the budgeting season about kind of changing around how we did the school tours. Are we just thinking of just continuing on?
So let's finish the bylaws and then we can get to that,
Okay.
okay?
I'm gonna make a motion, so it's formal.
Okay,
Make a motion that we table the review and adoption of the bylaws this evening and have the chair look over the bylaws, form a small committee, and bring those back to us for adoption and or amendment at the first possible meeting that we could put it on the agenda. Does that work? Is that
Mhm.
loose enough?
I'll second that.
okay, so we have a motion and a second to bring these back with a review and possible amendments at our first possible time come the fall. Any other discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? Okay, any abstentions? Okay, I guess that's what we're gonna do. So then, oops, hold on, put my schedule away, my agenda, the wrong one. So what I'd like to do, Julie, is end this meeting and adjourn the organizational meeting and jump right into our meeting so we can have that conversation.
Okay.
Are you okay with that? Okay. So I've adjourned the organizational meeting. I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Budget Committee for April 11th, 2024 at 7:22 PM. Heather, can you call the roll again?
Sue Sherman. Here. Sarah Dolce. Liz Costa.
Here?
Julie Hammond.
Here.
Karen White.
Here.
Christy O'Clair.
Here.
Sabrina Alberg. Katie Knudsen. Here.
Okay.
Catherine Gonzalez. Sorry.
She's here. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into the approval of the minutes. We have the regular meeting, December 28th. We have the public hearing, January 11th. And we have the meeting after the public hearing, our meeting on January 11th, and I believe that is it.
I have an amendment to the December 28 minutes, so I was not in attendance.
So let's put the minutes on the table first and then make those changes.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 28th with Christie's addition.
All right. Any other changes for December 28th? Okay. Then we'll go to January 11th, the public hearing.
You need to vote on those.
We need to take a separate vote because I need to abstain from the
Oh, that's
December
right,
one.
sorry. So do I have
You need a second first, though.
okay,
That's
can I
right.
have a second? Thanks. I haven't run a meeting in so long. It's okay. I'm rusty.
You're doing great.
Thanks.
It comes back quick.
Do we have a second? Anybody?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any other changes to the December 28th meeting?
These minutes are really
Minutes.
important. This is the meeting that
That's
we,
where we accepted
changes, where we,
changes and
you know.
reviewed everything.
so this is an important set of minutes. These are well done, Heather. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna call it. All those in favor of accepting these minutes for the 28th of December? Okay, 3, 4. Yeas, all. Anybody oppose? Abstentions? 4. Okay, so let's get to the public hearing on January 11th.
Make a motion to put these on the table. Public hearing of January 11th. Again, nicely done, Heather. That was
Another big meeting.
another big meeting with lots of things going on.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any changes need to be made from the public hearing minutes? Okay, gonna call a vote. All those in favor? Seven. Opposed? Abstained? One. All right. And then we're going to go to the meeting following the public hearing on January 11th. And then we have the minutes for
Yeah, to deliver.
after the deliberative as well.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from the meeting following the public hearing of January 11th.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept these. Any changes need to be made? We're gonna call the vote. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Opposed? Abstained? 2. Okay, now we're gonna do the February 8th after the deliberative session.
Motion to accept the minutes of the minutes following the deliberative session of February 8th.
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Six. Opposed? Abstentions? 2.
It was a 1-minute meeting.
Yeah, it was.
It was quick. It was quick. We'd already been there.
Literally.
Yeah. It was a long night. All right. So we did all of that. That was, okay, a lot. You are correct. Any correspondence?
We don't have anything on the email.
Okay. No correspondence. Any delegates or individuals? Okay. Now we have the superintendent's report. I would like to first say congratulations and welcome
Thank you, Liz.
as the official superintendent.
So can I take this opportunity to share a couple things?
Oh, absolutely, sir. Share away.
A few things to run through. First, wanted to give the budget committee an update on the Conval lawsuit. This was something that last year, this is in Rockingham Superior Court, where that court ordered that the state adequacy funds, that's just about at $4,100, was ordered to increase to about $7,400. The Supreme Court has issued a stay in that lawsuit, so that's going to give the state about a year to go through the appeal. So just sharing that here with this group, that I don't foresee any changing to that funding mechanism over at least the next calendar year. And we'll stay tuned to any developments and report back to you there. The other thing, one thing I want you to just think about as a group, and Liz, maybe for you to have conversations with BudCom community members. I raised this at the last school board meeting. I do think it is an appropriate time that we start a conversation amongst all 4 towns. That includes people at the state level, so senators and people that serve in the House, our town selectmen, and then members from the school board, and also members from this group, the budget committee. Really thinking about how we're going to be planning forward about the limiting resources that are available for schools and the ability to meet kids' needs. So I'd like for this group to maybe identify a person or two that would like to participate on that team. And it's an informal group just to start a conversation now about what we can do around funding to best serve the students of the community. So stay tuned for more information coming for that. At the board level, Maria and I are going to look to bring the unassigned fund balance, or at least our best idea of that, to the May 2nd meeting. So that's when we'll be kind of first talking about that at the board level. So something to stay tuned for there. At the board level, they've also created 2 ad hoc committees that I wanted to bring your attention to. One is going to be studying the feasibility of full-day tuition-free kindergarten throughout Timberlane. And the other one's going to be looking specifically at early childhood learning programming and the programming over at TLC. And figuring out if that's the best model geographically to deliver that, or if we need to be looking at different models, again, that best serve kids and families. So representation for there could also be a participation for anyone on this group as well. In terms of debt collection, we've also talked about at the board level, there's about $200,000 of outstanding either tuition or food service cost. We've briefed the board on that. We are going to start moving forward with the collection agency. We're going to provide some notice and systems to family, but trying to separate the school from being that collector and give it to a different agency and see if we can make any headway, not only about recovering funds, but separating that conversation from school staff that are working directly with kids and families. And lastly, on a point of good news, I wanted to point out the 2 teachers of the year that just recently were recognized here in Timberlane. Jennifer Tolth is the librarian over at Atkinson. The Teacher of the Year award is a huge one, so she has just received that. And Allison Yankasaw as well as the music teacher across the district at the elementary level. So both of them were recognized separately at different conventions, but it draws a lot of honor and pride for Timberlane. So wanted to appreciate their work here again.
That's awesome.
Both are wonderful educators.
Yeah.
Jennifer is my neighbor, and Allison was my kid's
Good to have.
strengths teacher all the way through, elementary. Couldn't be more deserved.
That's awesome.
It's great.
That's all I have, Liz.
Thank you. And that was fast, and I took notes. Okay. Any reports for the budget committee from the capital improvement or anything else? Okay. And then anything from the school board?
Not this time. Justin did a good job hitting on some of the stuff that we're doing. We are looking at reorganizing, restructuring some of our committees. CIP is one of them to make it more efficient, more streamlined. Definitely this year looking at the budget. We don't have any unions we're negotiating or anything like that, so it's a good thing. But yeah, looking forward to working with the budget committee to kind of get this budget better and streamlined.
Okay, thank you. We look forward to those conversations.
Absolutely.
New business. Let's go through and then we'll go to other business for the calendar because I would like to get people's ideas on how to do the tours and stuff like that. The review of the election results. Everything, it looks like everything passed. I know that there's been some discussion with the tax base and our taxpayers, and it's our responsibility to be good stewards to our taxpayers. And the results are here. I understand there's been conversations in the community, and I don't know if the superintendent wants to address anything with these results, but I look forward to working with, and I believe the whole committee looks forward to working with the school board and the administrative team to streamline where we're going. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet, but it's going to be a lot of conversations, I think, as to how it's going to happen. Because I'm only one person on this board. We need to have consensus of how things are going to be done. So, and I do look forward to working through this. Might get a little tense at times, but it's okay. We're there because we care. We're here because we care. So, any words about the results? Or
The only thing that I would share is the same thing we shared at the board level meeting, that all 10 warrants passed, and that it was record turnout across the 4 towns. And I just think that both of those things are good signs in terms of the number of people participating.
It is. I know that Plastow had an increased amount of voters. And to be honest, it was their tax bills. I'm not gonna lie, it was their tax bills. And if that's how we're gonna get people to get out and vote and make change, your vote counts. Everybody's vote counts. So, the taxpayers spoke and, let's figure out a way to work through it. That's all I can say. We just gotta work through all of this. Okay, any other comments or questions? SAU district overview, is that this,
No, it's
No.
in your smaller package.
the smaller packet?
That's it. So the first page is the one with the graph, which is basically a summary
Mhm.
of our voted budget.
Yeah.
So as you can see, salaries are 45% of our budget, benefits are 27, and operating budget makes up for 28% of our budget. The increase in the budget was 5.5% for 4,778,928. Basically, the warrant articles that passed was warrant article 2, which is the proposed budget. Warrant article 3, which was the TTA union contract, was for $2.4 million, and warrant article 5, which is the $250,000 that we have in the capital reserve fund. And then warrant article number 8, which was the collective bargain agreement for our IT employees. That gives us a total voted budget of $91,825,843. The detailed by line report is in the next few pages. I want to note that the budget cuts that were made at our last meeting, we still have to move the lines within the budget, so the total doesn't change, but because we cut, there were amounts that you guys decided to cut, like the $225,000 for personnel. That is the 225 is in one line, but we haven't switched the lines, so some things may look weird right now until the superintendent and the administration team are meeting on the staffing needs for next year, and they will be presenting that, I believe, at the next school board meeting. So the line by line will change just because of that. I just wanted to make a point of that.
Okay.
So, I don't know if
And all of this information can be found on the Budget Committee's website page,
Yes.
Under documents. Okay,
Yes,
I just want
it's like a
people to
folder
know.
for each meeting, and so everything that we have in the meeting you can find it there.
All right,
I also, as I do every year on our first meeting, you have the two big reports. The first one is the tax rates trend report, which is basically showing the different categories that make up our tax rate. So up on the left, we have the total tax rate for each of the towns. Then below, we have the county portion of the tax rate and the municipal portion of the tax rate. On the middle column, we have the education. So we have the local education, the state education, and then at the bottom, the total education rate. And then on the right, I have the valuation for each of the towns. As you can see, there's two valuations. One is including utilities, the other one does not include utilities. Those are, the Department of Education uses one valuation and the Department of Revenue uses the other valuation. So that's why I have them both, because they both are taken into consideration for different aspects. And then at the bottom, I have the ADM. As you know or may not know, our tax rate formula is the operating side of the budget is a portion based on on ADM, which is attendance of student enrollment. And then the capital portion of our budget is apportioned based on the town valuations. So, with that said, another thing to note is that I think we talk a little bit about it in the fall in our meetings is that even though the increase in the tax rates this year obviously was significant, we also wanted to point out that most of our towns, except for one, the rates are not yet at the rate that they were before COVID. So before COVID, the tax rate was higher than what it is this year. So that is something that we discussed in this committee, and that we wanted to point attention to that even though it was a big increase, we are still not at the rates that we were prior to COVID. The second, anybody has any questions about that report? In the second big report, the front page is basically a summary. It's a 10-year report of voted budgets and actual financials. The top portion has the column for the voted and the actual for each of the years, and then the middle portion, the black charts, have only the actuals on the left side year after year, and then the year-over-year increase on the right side. I added some notes here because as you can see, some of the increases I do the notes on significant variances. So the notes are below, you can reference to those. And then the graphs, please notice that the most current year is on the left. I know some people have I don't know, I think it's more a financial and accounting thing that the newest result is on the left rather than on the right. So the pages to follow to that is actually the line detail of the 10-year. So line by line in the budget to actual for those. I do want you to notice something. So as you may or may not be aware, our budget has 3 different funds. So the general fund has the general, the budget that allows us to operate the district in the day-to-day. Then we have a fund for the food service, a fund for the grants, and a fund for the PAC. So this report includes those 3 funds' expenses. So it's not only the general fund, but it also includes the other 3 funds. So if you compare the actuals in this report to the actuals in the other report, they're not the same because the big report includes the 3 funds. I just want to make a note of that because if people look at the totals, then you will be like, Maria, this is wrong, but it's not. It's just because these big reports include absolutely every single expense that happens in the district line by line. Yes. And as always, if you guys have any questions, I'm always available. Anybody in my team is as well. Lisa also helps us a lot with any questions or anything that you guys.
It's great reading material.
It is a lot of information, but again, it's just all about and providing information that can be used for
Okay.
good purposes.
Any comments or questions? Yes.
Yes, so the tax one is always like in the front in the landing page of the website at the bottom, there's a tax section there. And both will be also under the budget committee.
May I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
In the 10-year report, you mentioned that during the COVID year, that the rates were higher, the increases were higher than they are now.
So it's not in the expense report, it's in the tax rates. So when you see at the trend report for taxes, and I can give you my copy so you can see it.
I know. Should come to the table, it should be recognized, it should put that in the record. There's no record.
Sir, would you mind coming to sit at the table so we can recognize you
Sure.
Get it in the
and
minutes.
get it in the minutes that you,
My name's Doug Gilliner. I'm from 73 Back Road, Danville. So I just asked to see this because all I've heard from the people in the community is that the last 2 years had major increases. And I know one was 9% this year, which is really alarming for me. And then there was 5% in the past. And I have history on school committees, and I have history on budgets for 2 different school districts. And I've been on committees for the budgets, and 2% was always the standard.
was that Proposition 2.5 in Massachusetts?
That was Proposition 2.5. For anybody that doesn't understand that, it basically says as long as we kept our budget under 2.5%, it does not have to go to a vote in the community. It's just to make it a lot easier on the people.
That's a state law in Massachusetts, and I'm very familiar because my mother lost her job because of Proposition 2.5.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Proper 2.5, it works good for the taxpayers, not so well for the people in the schools and whatnot. But the history of that is most people that I find in the working community, they don't get more than a 2% raise every year. If they're lucky to get that. A lot of people are lucky to get 50 cents. And that's the truth of it. And these are the average people that are living in the houses and neighborhoods. What's gotten me involved here was I've seen 3 houses in my community, and they all were purchased brand new homes, and within a year they're already up for sale. And I've talked to some of these people, and it's the taxes that are driving them out. So I'm just trying to digest your budget process, where these increases and why they're coming down the road.
Yep,
And I'm not here to attack anybody.
no, it's okay, and I want to say that as someone who has been on the school board, has lived in this community for over 20 years, and now I'm here.
Yep.
I personally am very aware of what's going on in my town and other towns as well, because, you know, when you've been here for so long, you have friends everywhere.
Sure. I've only been I've only been here 5
and
years, so.
I last year was very vocal about making sure we were aware of people's situations, whether they're coming to us or just being aware of the economic situation that we're all in. Some of us can afford to pay the taxes that as they come in every year. Some people are week to week. Some people, they're trying to figure, oh my gosh, I just lost my job. What am I gonna do? So we've had this conversation, and I respect everything that you're doing, because before I sat at this table, I was looking at all the numbers every year when I wasn't on the school board, because this is important. This is what are we doing for our kids?
I agree with that. I hear that a lot, especially as a school committee member. People would say, I'm here for the children. And I would always say, I'm here for the children's parents, because they have to bear the cost of what we're doing here. And if we raise these prices too much, their children won't go to these schools. So I'm just trying to digest what the last increases are, why they're so high. In Massachusetts, and I hate to go back to that because I moved away from there, trying to just simplify my life, and I didn't have any intention of getting involved with any of this. But they're running their schools on average of $23,000 per student. And up in this school, we're close to 29,000. So there's a huge increase at this school district. And I'm just wondering what's driving that? Why is it so much more here? What is the driving force behind that?
We have a formula that we need to use, and the state does not give us money that is appropriate, which is what our superintendent spoke to.
Yeah. The money I'm talking about, and I've had that mentioned to me, I'm talking at the end of the line, the lump sum of town taxes, state taxes, go to a school, divide that by the pupils in the school, you come up with $23,000.
Well, and you know what? New Hampshire may use a different formula. It may be that Proposition 2.5. We don't get what we deserve from the state.
No.
And I'm a
clearly you
huge
don't.
proponent of that.
And I almost wanted to interrupt the superintendent at the last meeting, and he wants to include the representatives to the meeting, which I think everybody should meet them. But they made it real clear to us, all three of them, that there's no help coming from the state. There's no more money coming from the state for our children. And that was made to me in person with witnesses by all three state representatives that attended our meeting.
So, and who was at your meeting? I just,
I'm gonna
was it?
have- Because I'm new to the area, I know
Okay.
Scott Wallace was one
Okay.
of them. I'm gonna have to ask Stephanie, the other two,
Was it Mr. True there?
Stephanie Doobie, Danville, New Hampshire. Josh Yokola
yes.
and Emily Phillips, even though she doesn't represent.
She's from
those,
Fremont?
she's from Fremont.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our representatives, if we could get them to come down, if I could
It would be
interject,
two of those.
they have the same thing to say. It has to start at the state level. The formulas they use to calculate need to be changed. The burden for education in this state is on our real estate tax. That's how we fund education, which is not how they fund them in Massachusetts
No,
and
they're
many
getting
other
a deal
states.
in New Hampshire.
There are no tax, there are no income tax, et cetera. Sales
I
tax.
understand that, but at
So
the
it's
end of the
unfair.
day, at this school district, it's $29,000 per student,
Yeah.
not $23,000.
So
Call
at
point
this
of
point,
order.
we need a point of order
Okay.
because we still have more business to attend to.
Absolutely, thank you so much for this, so this will give you something to digest and look over. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
So we have the budget process overview, which is in our packet, which outlines, I flipped so many times. I'm confused. This one, yeah. Here we go. So this is the proposed budget preparation process, and it states that the Budget Committee, working in conjunction with the administration and department heads, will set the schedule for the upcoming preparation session prior to the end of the current fiscal year. The Budget Committee shall confer with the school board and with department heads and other school officials relative to estimated costs, revenues anticipated, and services performed to the extent deemed necessary by the Budget Committee. The department heads will prepare their upcoming fiscal year's budget. The proposed department and building shall submit their budget and supporting documentation as requested by the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee shall include the following: the department heads' requested amount and all information deemed pertinent by the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee shall examine the proposed budget, ask questions, make recommended changes as needed by a majority vote. The Budget Committee will make a motion to accept the budget and include the motion department, location, and account number, gross expense, revenue as applicable, and net expense pending final review. Budget committee may make changes the day of the presentation and or at subsequent meetings. And also, please note the budgets will be submitted to the budget committee minimally 1 week prior to the meeting with the department head to ensure adequate review time and enable committee members to prepare. And upon hearing all individual budget requests, the budget committee will perform the following: review the budget and motion for changes as needed, and shall consider school board recommendations if any. May call back any department or building administrator with additional questions if required. Allow department heads and building administrators to present later changes to the proposed budgets as needed. The budget committee's proposed operating and capital budgets are presented at the deliberative session. The budget committee may modify the budget. Can't talk. Budget committee may modify budget following the public hearing. The budget committee's final proposed budget is presented at the deliberative session. Voters at deliberative session can approve or amend the proposed operating budget. All purposes and amounts of appropriations to be included in the budget or special warrant articles shall be disclosed and discussed by the budget committee at the final hearing. The governing body or budget committee shall not thereafter insert in any budget column or special warrant article an additional amount or purpose of appropriation which was not disclosed or discussed at the hearing without first holding one or more public hearings or supplemental budget requests for district expenditures. And the school board representative to the budget committee shall inform the school board that the budget committee requests any suggested changes to budgets as early in the process as possible to avoid last-minute changes. So that is our process. The next, any questions, comments, concerns about that?
One quick question. I know 2 seasons ago, we voted on each individual proposed budget from the various department heads. This past season, we chose to vote to take it under advisement. Is that still what we're thinking?
I'm thinking that because I think that gave us a better handle
I
of
agree.
where we are in the process, how the money's shaking down per se if we go school by school, department by department, building by building.
I agree with that. It's not super clear in this, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to make sure that that is clear, that we're going to vote to take it under advisement and we'll be able to bring it back
Right.
as needed.
Right. I think that worked really well last year. So if we had questions, we could review it and say, this didn't sit well, let me look at it again. I know when I was reviewing our materials after the fact, I would watch the budget meetings and go through all the paperwork again, just because when you're in the moment, you're like, oh my gosh, what was said? So,
So many numbers flying around.
yeah,
I found, Karen, that, we had that chart that I had Heather
yeah.
prepare. It just gave us like a running tally, and I felt a little bit more comfortable and less like at the 11th hour, we're like, what?
Same. I liked
Yeah.
I liked having that laid out.
Yeah.
Each week or each meeting.
meeting,
yes.
So if we could keep with that, that would be
That'd be
wonderful.
great.
And I think we will. And
Great.
yeah, all right. Any other questions or comments? You're studying me. Okay, so we'll go on to scheduling. See, I knew it was gonna come up. And I wanna ask you what your, questions, concerns are. And I know there wasn't a lot, I was away for the first 2, or I would have been there. But
Well, I've been attending these for almost 10 years now. And the participation that I've seen over the years is very minimal. Last year was probably the worst. that I've seen where it was not only the public not attending, but the school board representation wasn't there. There was also lacking in budget committee
Mhm.
representation. I believe there was one where there was 2 or 3 people there, one of them being Maria. So I know Mike last year had discussed, eliminating them. I think that we had talked about if we could somehow have people have the people maybe videotaping, do some type of a walkthrough that people could watch at home so that they could see. It would make it easier. I think more people might watch that.
Didn't we, back in the day, didn't we have someone videotape them as we were doing the tours? Dean, didn't you do that at some point? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pull you in.
We tried that once about 15 years ago.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I
It's
was
been a
on
while, but we had some
technical,
results with trying to record a
okay,
moving, walking presentation, but I mean, we can maybe discuss some other.
other options, okay.
I mean, I don't know if, like the administrator I hate to throw more on facilities, but maybe since the majority of it is there, a lot of things that they're doing or wanting to be done, if they could put together a little, slideshow or some things that people can see, because I find it very useful going and seeing what's been done and what needs to be done. But if the public isn't going and they're not seeing it, they don't know.
Right, so something I've been kind of like tossing around in my head, and you might go, oh God, no, please no. And I know Dean remembers this. We used to go to the PAC, a couple of we'd do a school board Thursday and then a budget committee Thursday. And we would have all the schools present one week. And then the following week, we would have all of the other departments where the facilities director would post pictures, and that was on top of the tours. So, I'm kind of thinking of everything that we've done in the past where we can move it in the future, because you're right, there weren't that many people in Atkinson or Plastow for those 2 elementary schools. And I was just shocked by what I had seen, great stuff going on in the classroom, which is a great way to see what's going on so early in the year. But I also think that it gives us a good idea of what needs to happen with our facilities director telling us face to face, and you can walk away with that. And the building principals are there, and those administrators telling us, these are concerns for us, safety concerns, learning area concerns, library concerns. I think you can get a lot out of being in person, but I think we need to probably have a conversation about that as well. What I will say is, individually send me your thoughts and ideas of what you think will work, and I'll bring it to the leadership, and we'll figure it out, because I would like to see more community engagement, because that's important, to understand why we're asking for, gonna pick on, turf fields or whatever, that will never happen, but,
Pick on boilers, it's easier.
boilers, okay, we'll pick on boilers.
Well, and
I mean,
just,
I have found
the
those
cost of
tours-
things,
Yeah.
the, all the stuff they put on the tops of all the HVAC systems.
HVAC stuff,
I mean,
those are
the cost-
expensive.
They're ridiculously expensive, and I think probably a lot of people aren't really aware of that, and they just hear HVAC, or they don't
Right.
really know,
Mhm.
and then they're like, why is this number?
So expensive. So, and that's what I really would like to have more community engagement in those tours, because it's our school. We're stewards to, Mark Sherwood, I love that word, we are stewards to the taxpayers, to the school community. And how do we get people to come in and look and see what actually needs to happen building wise, curriculum wise, and all of that, because it's important. It's, you know, we're here to protect the, you know, taxpayer, but we also need to make sure we provide a fair and appropriate education for every single child.
I would hate to see the building tours go away, although the last couple of years they've been very poorly attended. It was huge just seeing some of those facilities in person and understanding the state of our buildings, the age of our buildings. I don't know if that can be conveyed in a PowerPoint presentation
No, it can't.
appropriately. So if there's a way we can continue to do the in-person building tours and promote them somehow, bring your people.
But piggyback them off another event. The
Yes.
open house is well attended. Okay, open house, 4 family members, 20-minute intermission, go play on the playground with your kids, and then open to the public. Please stay. In 20 minutes, we're having a tour of the facilities. Each of them, there you go. Like that's gonna,
That's a
the
great
pattern.
idea.
We're having the first band show or whatever, but prior to or before, you know, we're gonna have a tour of the facilities. And then it's like a little more digestible too, like, oh, I'm already here. Why don't I stay for just the school that impacts me? Because maybe it'll pique my interest on the next one. At the end, hey, Pollard's is
Yes.
next week. We're gonna do it this day.
Yep.
You know, have some kind of,
And when I had
buy-in.
3 kids in 3 schools, it was, that would have been great.
yeah, and maybe that's part of it too. Maybe we have kids, it's really hard to get here. Great, the kids get to go to the gym and have, you know, games set up or ice pops or something like that while parents tour it, you know, a little bit of an incentive, like maybe it's ice cream social night and facility tours, the kids.
Yeah,
and
those
that's-
late summer open houses.
I mean, this is the same week of Labor Day weekend. Nobody's thinking about the tours then. Bump it back a month and you might increase engagement by 4 people. Like, so, you know,
Maybe they're too early in the year.
it's so early in the year. It's been, has it been August before
It's
also?
always been
I
the-
think it
It's
was
always been the
Right.
first couple of
First few
weeks.
weeks.
In September.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, it's
it
because
feels
the
like
other
summer
meetings-
still. Oh,
it's
I
because
understand
the
why,
other
but
meetings,
it's,
We have to do the budget.
Or
parents are drowning. People aren't like thinking about the budget yet. It's a tough time of year, for
We
sure.
also, I just also wanted to say that based on the discussions that we have had to do some kind of video or something, actually Heather took up the task of contacting different companies or venues that could help us do some kind of video. Actually at the PTA in Atkinson, one of the moms gave me a number of an alumni that has a company. We contacted, the cost of doing that is ridiculous because we have 650,000 square feet.
The cost
in
of
our
the budget not
buildings.
being supported.
So our
is-
9
Yeah.
buildings are
awesome.
650,000 square feet. So the cost of having a video made of our schools is absolutely insane. I have been also working with Dean and Ken, because Dean has a camera. He tried with the drone and the drone won't work because anything that is on the tables will fly away. But Dean has another camera that is like a 360, it does like a 360 view, which I was planning to, our first meeting, show you what your feelings are about putting together something like that, maybe, which is like you can actually see the room, or you can actually see the roof with the HVAC systems or whatever pieces we decide, if it's more focused onto the things that we really need to address. Maybe having pictures like that will be good, you know, like the picture of the boiler room. Well, these are the 25-year-old boilers that need to be replaced. Maybe that will be an alternative to have a visual of what we're trying to address.
Right. Do you know what ever happened? Because last year, there were actually 2 people from Atkinson that
Yeah,
were
they were
videotaping.
filming, weren't they?
Right, and they were gonna try and work together to kind of edit it, and I don't know whatever
So it
became of
was
that.
Michael Boucher.
Yeah.
He said he put it in like this channel that Atkinson has.
I feel like he did post it.
I'm not sure what the channel is exactly, but
It's the public access channel.
It is? Okay.
So it would only be able to be seen if you're in Atkinson, because it was on that channel, not all of our channels, and not on our.
Not everything, yeah. Unless it's accessible through the town website. Who
I do
knows?
like
I don't
the
know.
idea of the open houses. I
Look
think
into
that could work.
And it could even be an informal one for those parents to say a quick tour, even to welcome to the school, because how many parents do you know that don't even know how to get to the 5th grade by the time the kids are there, because there's not really a walkthrough tour. And then a more in-depth one is to follow if you want to join us, that could even, if you're not ready to do a big event that day, the principal and the assistant principal could do a quick walkthrough and highlight,
The things that we need to.
Yeah, so,
And doing that would probably be better for some of the building principals because they're already gonna be there that day.
Yeah.
They're not having to miss dinner with their families on those nights.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a good use of
Great
resources.
idea.
yeah. So is that something we can coordinate with the building administration to try and work and see if we can try that this year?
Working it up for sure.
All right. And then, could we just make sure that the budget committee and the school board are invited so that we can attend if we're able to?
And that would be something to coordinate with like the local PTAs. I bet that they would be interested in doing something with the kids during that time if you wanted it to not have the kids rolling around for the tour.
Yeah,
I'll sign the academy one.
remember the math nights?
Yeah.
Okay, are we all set with that? Okay, any other business to come before the committee? Okay,
So we decide then the tours, these 3 meetings for the tours, the September 4th, the 10th, and the 12th, we're not gonna.
right, we're gonna incorporate the tours into open houses.
We'll bring back some mutually
see
advantageous,
if we
like
get some
coinciding
dates, yeah.
dates.
Yes, please.
So then that will put our first meeting of the fall on Thursday, September 26th. Or would you like to make?
So
think you should
could
make
we sit and talk about that? Cause I need to look at my calendar.
Sure.
That I have on my Google Drive.
Okay.
So, and, so that we can do that, but I'd like to start earlier so that we're not running into Christmas and all of that. I'd like everything set before Christmas. And I'm sure everybody else would too, so that we're not coming back between Christmas and New Year to have conversations.
We did last
We
year.
did on the
We needed to
28th.
On the 28th.
So, but we're not gonna have any teacher contracts this year. And
That wasn't.
my only other request is that we see the warrant articles well before we have to approve our budget. So if we need to finagle some other things. Cause I don't like looking at them as we're trying to approve our budget. That makes me uneasy. It's like me going and telling my husband, oh yeah, we need this. Well, our budget's all set. We'll figure it out.
So you're gonna get back to us with a
Yes, so we
some
will,
early date to meet.
yep, so we'll do that. Is everybody all set?
One other thing
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
had discussed last year as well was as far as on the presentations, if we had if an administrator was coming in and had either their budget was level or very close, that, we were talking about maybe they don't need to come in to present. We can just go over it if it's under, if we had a certain threshold. I don't know if that's something that, I don't know if they like to come in and do this, or if it's more of a pain, especially when it's something that there's not a whole lot of changes.
I would just say that everybody's gonna have to come in this year.
So I like hearing them come in, you know,
I'm
especially
in
like when you
favor of
have the
having them come
elementary
in.
principals come in and they have that cohesiveness with some like the academic you know, requests that they have. I think it's really, it's good insight even for the public to hear, you know, so I
Even
mean,
if
I'd
they're-
hate to give that up.
Yeah, I would, but the other thing I would like to ask, I'm sorry, I'm being a pain in the butt so soon, is that when we are having conversations and you know, this was my pet peeve last year with the cleaning supplies. So just an example, what, you know, what types of cleaning supplies, or you know, list out what, you know, and just instead of saying we need, I can't even think, like 10 books. Well, what are some of those books? Or list out if it's like a big number and it's something. So I know on the Plastow Budget Committee, there was one situation where the number was big and it was for items for the police department, and
Oh,
we,
the uniforms.
the uniforms, and we were like, but what does a uniform entail? So is it a shirt and pants, or what does it entail? So instead of just saying like uniforms, $80,000, what does that entail? Because then that gives us a really good picture of what is actually needed.
And even
Because
so much more so when the people are here that can answer those questions.
yes,
too.
so and it makes it easier to have those conversations. Like, oh, okay, so you need a shirt, pants, belt, socks, shoes, hat, vest, the whole 9 yards. So okay, now I understand why this is like this. And it, you know, when you're listing it out, you're like, oh yeah, we need, this goes with this goes with this. And I think it will give us a better picture of needs within schools, needs within, you know, facilities. So, you know, and it will help us. So we need a new boiler. So what does that entail? What, the boiler is $50,000. I don't know, I'm throwing that number up. I don't know. I'm making it up. But okay, what does that $50,000 entail? Is it just the boiler? Is it the boiler plus everything that connects it? Is it the person that's gonna come in and do the labor? What does it entail? Does it entail taking that boiler out and disposing of it as well? So that's really important to me. I mean, when we call and get quotes for things, we get a list of what it is. So for us to budget and understand, I think that makes sense.
I think, I'm not in favor of streamlining the process at all, Julie. I don't even like that word, streamline.
I didn't use that word.
No, yeah, others have. But having each department head and each school principal have a chance to meet us, speak to us, have us meet them, as, you know, we've had changes, and get a face with a name kind of thing, and have them present what they think they're gonna need for their school year for the next year. I think it's important.
Item by
That in
item
place.
does that. And I think more now than ever, we need to go over these budgets and really understand them.
Yeah.
And they were all willing to come back. Last year, we had any questions, if Lisa or Maria couldn't get those answers, they were more than willing, you know, and the big budgets, when near the end of things, and we leave them to last because they've got a lot of stuff to put together. We want as much detail available so we can make the best decision.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns? All right. And I'm just gonna say a motion to adjourn.
Second.
And we're all set. Great night.
Excellent job, Liz.
Yeah, great job, Liz. Thank you. Well done.
Yeah.